Hello and welcome to my educational podcast on the draft riots that took place in New York City. The draft riots in New York City took place during the Civil War era. The riots lasted from Monday the 13th of July until Thursday the 16th of July 1863, with the death count placed at approximately 120 people. This number included 11 black men who were horrifically lynched. In order to fully understand the outcome of the draft riots, first we will briefly look at the historical context leading up to the events that took place. First of all, it is important to realise that New York, the largest city in the USA even at that point in time, had a lot of sympathy for the southern states for a number of reasons. These reasons included the fact that New York's economy was heavily dependent on the goods produced in the South. The Emancipation Proclamation had also recently been passed, and some citizens in New York were fearful they would be competing with the freed slaves for employment. These two factors were important in the growing discontent in New York City with the Union government. However, the Enrollment Act of 1863 really pushed this discontent over into outrage, which sparked the New York draft riots. The Enrollment Act specified that all citizens between the age of 20 and 45 were eligible to be drafted to fight in the Civil War. This was done through a lottery system. As black people were not considered citizens, they were not affected by this act. The rich were also generally not affected, as they could pay to hire a substitute in their place. This act sparked outrage amongst the immigrant population, who generally competed with the black people in New York City for the lower paid jobs. As many of these immigrants had become US citizens, they were now eligible for the draft and they could not afford to pay for a substitute. The outrage came to a head on Monday the 13th of July in New York. This date was the second drawing of draft numbers in the city. An angry mob, reportedly around 500 people, attacked the draft venue with bricks and paving stones, breaking windows and then setting fire to the building. The rioters then began to attack other government buildings before turning their rage to soldiers and the black residents of New York City. The riots continued until the 16th of July, with women and children joining the men in these riots. They burnt whole blocks to the ground and plundered shops. In one of the most infamous offences, a mob broke into the coloured orphan asylum where over 200 black children under the age of 12 lived with matrons. They then set fire to the building and killed a young girl who had been left in the building when the others evacuated. In the midst of the riots, the New York City police were heavily outnumbered and unable to quell the uprising. Eventually, the riots finished on the 16th of July, when the New York State militia, along with other federal troops, were sent to the city and eventually overpowered the rioters. The riots actually had very little impact on the draft lottery, as it resumed on the 19th of August 1863 without any further incidents.